Hello, everyone. My name is Kaylin Figueroa, and I'm a program and media assistant with MILPA Collective. We have Dr. Hernandez, who is the managing editor from Lessons in Liberation.
Well, Kaylin, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today, and thank you to MILPA, who has a piece in Lessons in Liberation, an Abolitionist Toolkit for pre-K-12 educators. So this is a collection that is intended to be an accessible collection of first-person narratives, of curriculum, of there's a zine in there, there's visual art, and it's really intended to be something that educators of all kinds, so who are working in schools as well as in communities, can use to dismantle the school to prison pipeline and really to support prison industrial complex abolition across our communities.
Awesome, yes. So Dr. Hernandez, why was it important for you to create Lessons in Liberation?
Sure. So I'm actually part of a larger collective of folks. So there's 11 of us total who are the editors of Lessons in Liberation. And Lessons in Liberation was a project that was started when Critical Resistance, as well as the Education for Liberation Network, who are two different organizations who are working around social justice. So Critical Resistance is a national abolitionist organization, specifically prison industrial complex abolition. And the Education for Liberation Network is a social justice organization for educators that also operates nationwide. So these two organizations came together about 5 years ago, really seeing the way that it's so important for us to bridge prison industrial complex abolition with what's happening in our schools, right? What's happening with our young people and with educators. And so it originally started as a number of different convenings that we had to really be in conversation of how can we work together? How can we learn from one another across the nation, all the organizing that was happening? So since then, the kind of project that we came up with is both the book itself, as well as a website, which is going to be live very soon. And the project is really about bringing attention to the organizing that's already happening, so that our communities, so that educators, students, young people, community organizers can all learn from the projects that are happening across different communities. So that was our original intention behind it. And obviously over the last 5 years, the kind of field's relationship to abolition has shifted over time, right? A lot more people are using the word abolition. A lot of people are already organizing for abolition. So we're really hoping that this will serve as inspiration, not as a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach, because we know that abolition needs to be specific to the needs and the specific context of our communities. But we are hoping that it will offer inspiration and guidance and a tool to really reflect on the importance of bridging abolition and education.
Yes, and that's amazing because it's going to be super cool to finally see some different perspectives in the school systems. With that, how do you feel this is going to help end mass incarceration?
Sure. So, the school to prison pipeline is one of the kind of first stops, right, on the way to mass incarceration. We know that a lot of young people are attending schools that have a lot in common with prisons. We know that a lot of young people are in schools that are reproducing a lot of the same kind of policing techniques, whether that is having literal police on campus or whether that is some of the kind of mindsets that some educators are really trained to have in the way that they're interacting with their students. And so we really see education as being fundamental, both to dismantle the prison industrial complex, right, to bring a stop to mass incarceration, as well as policing in our communities and surveillance in our communities. But we also really see education as fundamental to imagining into the kind of future and building the kind of communities that we all need and deserve. So communities that are not, and schools, right, that are not built on punishment as our main framework of interacting with young people, but instead coming from places of healing, coming from places of nourishment, and really, having that kind of self-determination of our communities that can be reflected in and across our classrooms, whether that's the relationships that we're building, whether that's student organizing, whether that's who is reflected in the curriculum, and what is reflected in the curriculum. We really see education as a fundamental piece to ending mass incarceration.
That's amazing. So once again, folks, you can go ahead and order your book at akpress.org. We're also going to link it in the description below. And then once the website goes live, we're going to go ahead and inform all of y'all so y'all can go check it out and just do a little bit deep diving. And thank you once again to Chrissy for going ahead and just sharing us a little bit and a little bit more insight on the book. So remember to follow MILPA Collective on all social media platforms.